This is WPTV, William Paterson Television.
Welcome to the premiere edition of WPTV Presents, the show that features Communication Department Club activities, leaders, and members. I'm Aria Capria. Today we feature the William Paterson University Chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists, or SPJ, which is the oldest organization representing journalists in the nation. Formerly known as Sigma Delta Chi, SPJ has chapters in colleges and universities all over the country. With us today is the president of WPSPJ, Rochelle Estrada, and the executive producer of WPSPJ podcast, Tommy Sherwood. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be able to be here.
So tell us a little bit about the club. What do you guys do?
So WPSPJ was founded in 2017 because we are a college group of a national organization, meaning there's basically different chapters within the entire world. And for us, we basically work within doing career preparation for a lot of college students. So anybody that is in this university can be a part of our organization regardless of how you identify and what you're interested in. In case you may be interested in like what the field is all about, we're here to be able to tell you guys this is what it is to be in the industry. These are the kind of skills you could bring into the field, and it allows you to be with different kinds of people that may be interested in different things but like writing or like writing news, you know, because you could go into it in any direction. So we really are trying to become very, very much more inclusive with a lot of different students here because there's so many people outside of Hamilton Hall. So we're really trying to build that community.
Yeah, awesome. So how are you guys working to get more people involved?
Right now, we're currently building toward having ourselves be nationally recognized by like the Student Government Association. So with that, we are going to be able to reach a lot more students that are within like the University Commons area by having more events in the ballrooms. So we're really trying to be able to have that be the case of doing more of like career fairs. We're trying to work for one in the spring, for example, a career fair. And we've had different community people come in that live in the Wayne Township area to be able to talk about, for example, age representation in the media. We just had that last year. So being able to have different students come to that and saying like anybody could be able to come in, even if you're just bored and you're curious about what is going on here, you could come in. So we're really trying to be able to get everybody to be able to join our chapter and really get to see what journalism is all about, even if it's not for you. You know, it's just the fact that you came and showed up that we appreciate.
Awesome. What would you say is like the overall point that SPJ really has to offer?
For us, we want to be able to show that journalism is really important within the media. It is something that really is essential for people finding out what's going on in the world, and there's a right way and a wrong way to be able to do that. So being able to teach people that are really interested in pursuing journalism as a field what is ethical, what is not ethical, and what are the right ways to tell stories to the voices that aren't always able to be told. That's what we want to be able to do.
That's awesome. So we see that you guys have a podcast, which is very impressive. How would you say that that has helped or evolved your club as a whole?
That's definitely allowed a lot of members that aren't able to attend some of our events to be able to have the experience of actually like not being at the event physically, but like the podcast kind of summarizes the event. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. How do you think it's helped or evolved you personally as a journalist?
It's definitely given me a lot of reporting experience because our podcast features sound bites from the journalists that are at these events or members of the newsroom. So it's definitely given me a lot of reporting and interviewing experience, like on the fly. Like I'll go up to the meteorologist at News 12 New Jersey, for an example, and I'll conduct an interview with him for the podcast. So it's definitely given me that experience. And it also gives like our hosts, our editors, experience in that field as well.
That's great. So you guys have a very impressive resume as a club. I always see, you guys are everywhere. You're very involved and you take every opportunity. How would you say that's very beneficial to your club members?
So to add on to what Tommy said, we have a new podcast. We started it last February. And I had never done anything like podcasting before. It was an idea that we were talking about in an e-board meeting as if like, what can we do that's new for our chapter to really gain new membership, to really put ourselves out there more. And we were talking about like, what if we do a podcast? Because I listened to it a lot during the pandemic and we're like, let's try it. And I said I would take like initiative in helping to build it together. So I cultivated this podcast that we currently have now that anybody could stream on any platforms from scratch. And I never had done that before. I had never done like the work that goes into building the podcast or anchoring and being a podcast host and interviewing people before and doing audio editing. So I learned a whole bunch of new skills that I didn't think I was going to learn being a part of WPSPJ, but I'm so fortunate and thankful that I was able to learn that, because now I could take that with me anywhere that I go. I don't just write articles anymore for online newsletters. Now I can actually say I can use my voice for something. And that's why I'm inspired to do broadcast now as a field for my career through the podcasting spectrum. So I'm really fortunate and thankful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys I see you all the time you go to different news outlets. How would you say that's a really key factor in what you guys do for the club? How do you think that that's beneficial for your members?
We know that there are so many students that are interested in going to a newsroom tour because people grow up watching like different news stations, listening to different stations in the radio, or wanting to go to places like, I want to go see the baseball tour that's happening, or like NFL, let's go to the NFL studio. Or recently we just went to MLB Network. So we hear all the time from students, we should go here, we should go here. Yeah. And I had a story that I grew up listening to 1010 Wins. And I listened to that with my dad every single morning on a car rides that we would take for when I would get dropped off at school. So I had said on a whim, on an e-board meeting, I was like, we should go to 1010 Wins. Yeah. I know this may be a lot to ask for, but let's go to 1010 Wins if we're able to. And he made it happen for me.
Awesome.
Last November, I went to 1010 Wins. I met Bud Michigan. I met Mark Gurney, and I interviewed them for the podcast.
Oh, so that's awesome.
Hearing the voices I grew up with when I was a kid and seeing it kind of happen in front of me, an entire newscast from 1010 Wins, and actually attaching a face to the voices I would hear, it was pretty incredible. Yeah. So that's how it's impacted me.
Yeah, not only that, but I mean, these newsroom tours allow our members to have connections with the people in the media outlets, which in journalism, connections are very important. I mean, you go out and explore internships for the experience and as well as just getting connections within the industry. Sometimes that could be the difference between getting a job and not getting a job. So we really like to have our members well connected with everyone in the communication field.
Yeah, networking is like incredibly important. I learned that now, like when I'm wrapping up college, like networking is so important. Through like being a part of WPSPJ, I've been able to meet so many journalists, especially Hispanic journalists. I've like really grown my networking with Hispanic female journalists, especially. That's very inspirational for me because I'm a Hispanic journalist. And I was able to talk to so many of them when I was recently featured in Univision. So it really kind of helps me feel like a sense of empowerment, but also see the possibilities of like, I can succeed in this field while being a woman that is of Hispanic descent. Yeah. So it's a pleasure to be able to feel that way, and I hope that we can help other people that join our chapter feel that way too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you guys been able to see different students flourish since joining the club?
Oh yeah, we've had like a few testimonials from different people that were recently a part of WPSPJ. We've had a few international students come into William Paterson. So we've had a few of them actually join our e-board. Our president and our treasurer of last year were from Ghana. So awesome. We were really having like different people. We still do this year have people that are of like diversity. We have someone that is like has cerebral palsy also on our board. So we are really opening our doors to really have more diversity into our e-board, so that's really exciting. We also have an international transfer student as well from India that is a part of our group, so that's really exciting. But it's definitely something that it's incredible to see. For example, we had a graduate student last year that had a dream, and she wanted to be a part of Al Jazeera because she's from the Middle East. And we actually did a newsroom tour because she asked for it. She's like, can we go to the United Nations? Can we go meet someone that works in Al Jazeera? That's my dream. So Dr. Hirschan, who was our advisor, he made it happen that we were able to go to the United Nations last November, and she met a correspondent that works for Al Jazeera. And through that, she is now working at Al Jazeera. And we were just speaking to her last night, and she was talking about all the work that she's doing right now in that field and how happy she's been a part of it. And she always attributes her success to the chapter. So being able to see different people that have dreams, seeing it actually become a reality, is something that we are so fortunate to be able to provide for everybody in the chapter.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys are doing a lot of great things. And well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have more to talk about with Rochelle and Tommy from WPSPJ. Stay with us.
The greatest minds in science have been working tirelessly week after week using the most cutting-edge 21st century technology to perfect the greatest college TV station known to man. And today, they present their latest creation, WPTV. Ooh, anybody got any glue?
Welcome back to WPTV Presents, where we are speaking with Rochelle Estrada and Tommy Sherwood from William Paterson Society of Professional Journalists. Hi again, you guys. So, Rochelle, as president, what are your plans for the club?
Right now, we are trying to really build our unity in our chapter, because I've really noticed that this chapter really kind of is tailor-made for students that are within Hamilton Hall. So a lot of the people that are involved in our department are from Hamilton Hall. But I was really sitting down last year and thinking about the fact that this William Paterson University is not just comprised of Hamilton Hall. We have so many buildings that we take different classes in, and there's different kinds of students. And sometimes I would talk to those students, they would be like, I like to write, but I don't even really know where I could really explore more of the writing. And I'm like, we have a chapter that actually specializes in journalism writing and news writing. You can join us. And they're like, but I'm not a journalism major. I don't even feel like I fit in. We're trying to change the stigma of that anybody can be a part of our chapter. And we're really trying to be able to have more students of different ethnicities and different representations join the chapter. And we're trying to have different professional news reporters come in that may identify as a specific non-binary gender, or they're from the LGBTQ community, for example, or people that are from African American or are of disabled journalists. We just had one this semester, having Hispanic people, and doing newsroom tours that are really tailor-made for different people, especially minorities, because we're a majority institution, majority minority. So we're really trying to capture what William Paterson University is all about and put that into our chapter with future activities.
That's awesome. What have always been your main goals personally since becoming president of the club?
I was really honored and fortunate because through WPSPJ, I was able to advance so much in my career. I had an internship. It was my very first one last winter. And I worked for basically an online news company called The Social Talks. And I was basically a news writer, so I was a journalism intern. And I worked both as a news writer and in the editorial department by helping other journalism writers, also by copywriting and doing AP style for the articles. But all of that experience was just so beneficial for me, because I really want to expand my horizons and really get more involvement outside of William Paterson. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without everything that I was able to do so far for WPSPJ, because I was able to say that I did interviews. I had started work for the podcast already, so I started having audio experience. I had started leading and organizing events, doing collaboration work. So being able to have different skills already outside of the fact that I was part of The Beacon, the campus newspaper, and I was a part of Her Campus, which is another outlet that's in William Paterson for women. So being able to have different involvements on campus as well as the chapter really helped me progress to be able to build toward my own career. So taking that, I was honored for that. And it made me feel compelled to want to give back to the university. So I was like, I want to be president, and I want to continue where we have left off in this chapter, because we won nationals through the work that we did last year. And I'm so proud of what everybody did.
Yeah, you should be.
I am so proud. So I want to be able to work just as hard, if not even harder, to be able to get us back into nationals again for 2024 and really build toward making our chapter grow for more students.
Yeah. So Tommy, as publicity chair for SPJ and the executive producer of the podcast, what's your ultimate goal for the podcast this year?
I mean, I just want to show everyone what we're doing. I mean, we're going to all these newsroom tours. We went to News 12 New Jersey. We went to CBS. I mean, like, we're doing so much, and I just want to showcase that to everyone around the university, everyone around the nation. I mean, I just want people to know what we're doing and like what big moves that we're making in our careers.
Yeah. What do you think about your podcast makes it stand out from all the others?
I mean, our podcast is the only SPJ chapter podcast. That, I feel like, it makes it really stand out, and it's one thing that was really considered for us being National Campus Chapter of the Year in 2023. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how would you say all of your different visits to different media outlets has really, I don't know, positively impacted your members?
We've had like many members that actually have decided to stick around after joining like the newsroom tours. We actually have had a couple of people that are not communications majors at all come to these tours. And they would find out through Pioneer Life, because we started building a Pioneer Life last year. And we said, we put all of our newsroom tours in there and people can RSVP and say, I'm coming, you're invited to come. So a couple of people would go to like our CBS newsroom tour. We just had that in October. And we've also had like MLB Network. We had someone also come that wasn't a communications major. And then little by little, there are people that come to our on-campus events because for them, they just want for civic engagement. They're like, I need civic engagement, so I'm gonna come here. But you know what? I actually left this meeting learning something new about the field that I didn't think about before. I really learned that journalism is more than just writing on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You can actually do something more with it. So they kind of take something away from the event that they didn't really think about before. They didn't even think could happen. So we really just like leave new people that come in with like food for thought, but also it allows them to actually have their minds expanded a little more. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really great exposure, not just for the students, but for you guys as a club, because you have so much to offer.
Right.
So in closing, what would you say to incoming students or students that are interested in journalism? Why would you say for them to join the club?
You know, like right now, there's a place for everybody, regardless of who you are and what you're studying. And honestly, when you're in college, make the most of the experiences that you can. Because when you get a job, they're going to be asking, what did you do in college? What do you have to bring to the table? You could be able to try many, many different things and actually tell other people, this is what I did. And in journalism, if you're interested in working for TV, if you're interested in working for radio, if you're interested in working for podcasting, we are working to provide one of everything for everybody, regardless of what you're interested in. And even if you don't end up pursuing it, it's there for you to say, I do know how to do a skill such as audio editing, or I know how to write a script. And I learned that through being a part of WPSPJ. Or if you work for a magazine company or work for a TV show, you could say, I learned what's appropriate and what's not by being a part of the chapter. So giving someone a reason to succeed in the media world is what we want to give to everybody that joins.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you guys so much. You really showed there's a place for everybody at WPSPJ. Thank you so much again for coming on the show. And that's all the time we have here today on this premiere edition of WPTV Presents. If you want to learn more about WPSPJ, follow them at WPSPJ on Instagram and Twitter, and check out their podcast on Spotify at WPSPJ. Be sure to follow us on all our socials at WPTV. A big thanks to all our crew as well as Clarke. I'm Aria Capria, and we'll see you next time.